Warning, this episode contains graphic content. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey guys, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Melissa, and this is Dark and Twisties.
Dark and Twisties is a hopeful weekly podcast covering true crime,
Paranormal activities,
missing persons,
urban legends,
and basically anything twisted.
You can find us by searching Dark and Twisties on Spotify and Google Podcasts.
Follow us on Instagram at Dark and Twisties Podcast. One day we'll actually have a website, but today's not the day.
Today is not that day.
Maybe tomorrow. Probably not, though.
Probably, a couple weeks from now. We'll see.
On February 13th, 2017, 14-year-old Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Williams were dropped off by Liberty's older sister Kelsey to go hiking in the remote area of Deer Creek Township. This was a trail that many of the residents had hiked as it's a part of the Delphi Historic Trails in Delphi, Indiana. The deal was that Libby's sister Kelsey would drop them off at about 1:30, and then their grandfather Mike would go and pick them up at about 3. At about 2:07, Liberty had posted a picture of Abby walking across the Monon High Bridge over Deer Creek on Snapchat. About 3:15 rolls around, and Abby and Libby had failed to meet with Libby's father. Worried, they continued to call their phone, but their phone was turned off, something that was really unlike Libby to do. By 5:30, the girls were reported missing after the families had initially done their own search on that trail, thinking maybe the girls had kind of wandered in the wrong direction. Local police and residents in the area also joined on the search, but they weren't able to come up with any leads on where the girls might have been. The search was called off for the night and would begin the next morning. The search for Abby and Libby continued, but unfortunately it ended quickly because the girls' bodies were discovered on the opposite side of the Deer Creek near a cemetery at about 12:15. I don't know about you, but I would not let my kids just go walking.
No, listen, even when she's 14, I'm not doing that. That's creepy.
Yeah. So after the girls' bodies were discovered, police had not publicly stated how the girls were murdered. So on February 15th, police released a photo of a man they wanted to speak to. The photo shows a white man wearing blue jeans, a blue jacket, and a hoodie. Police later released an audio retrieved from Libby's phone of the suspect saying, "Down the hill." Police say that there was more evidence found on that phone, but they won't release it due to the fact that they don't want to compromise the investigation. So while Abby and Libby were on this hike, they were actively recording and posting on Snapchat. The man approached them while they were on the south end of the bridge, but I guess the approach of the man on the bridge seemed to kind of concern the girls, and Libby was able to conceal her phone in a way to where she could capture the man on her phone, and he wouldn't be able to see it. So from the moment that he approached them on that bridge, she started recording.
God, that's so creepy.
Yeah, it's so creepy. That's why you don't go anywhere by yourself. Even if you're with a friend, unfortunately, 2s don't work anymore. We need to go 3s. 3s and 4s.
3s and 4s, yeah. Is it just the audio, or did they release video too?
So after they kind of released that audio, they end up releasing a video, kind of like a snippet of what the man looked like. So the suspect is described as a white man ranging from the height of 5'6" to 5'10", and somewhere between 180 pounds to 220 with reddish brown hair. On March 17th, 2018, the property where the girls' bodies were found was owned by a man named Ron Logan. Police obtained search warrants for both the Logan's home and his vehicles, and he was released on March 20th with no evidence linking him to the crime.
Yeah.
That was March 17th. Now, here we are, July 17th, so 4 months later. There's a composite sketch that's made of someone who is considered to be a prime suspect of the murders. This composite sketch was drawn by police from an eyewitness that day that the girls went missing of a suspicious man who was walking on that Delphi Historic Trail. April 19th, 2019, the Indiana State Police announced a new direction in the case and scheduled a news conference for the 22nd. During this news conference, the public was introduced to a short video recording in which the suspect is seen from the photos walking down the rail of the bridge. There was also a new sketch that was released as well. And along with that, there was an extended version of the audio that we previously heard that was made to the public. In that extended audio, it basically just kind of puts the word guys in front of down the hill.
Guys. Down the hill.
So, and then in this press conference, they also go into detail about how the previous sketch that they had made from that eyewitness kind of showed an older man with a goatee and a cap. It's actually considered a secondary sketch. And a new one was released showing a man who kind of had a resemblance to the first one, but he was more clean shaved and he had more of like a younger looking way about him. He's said to be between 20 and 40, but because of how his looks were looking like on the younger side, that's how they ended up with two different sketches of this man. Now, I can show you the two sketches and they do not look a thing like each other. I don't know how you can pull up one sketch and have this and then be like, well, this is a secondary look of him, but this is what we really want you. Like, there's no like real comparison of the two.
See, I don't understand why they would release one sketch, but then release second and be like, oh, but the second one is the one we want you to look at.
How do you get these two sketches, but you consider them to be the same person? Because, like, it's really clear that it's not the same person. Like, are we looking for somebody with a goatee, or are we looking for somebody who looks like he's 20? It just doesn't...
Right. That's sketchy, that they would completely change the way the person looked in a sketch. Sketchy.
Yeah,
it's a sketchy sketch.
It's a sketchy sketch. I don't like
sketchy
sketches. I don't like sketchy sketches. Too much sketch in that sketch.
There's too much sketch in that sketch.
Too much sketch in that. So police and investigators also revealed that they believe the suspect actually may live in the area of Delphi. If he doesn't live there, he probably works there or he frequents there constantly. And this was due to the fact that coming in as somebody who doesn't know that area, who has never hiked that bridge, who's never gone through any of that trail at all, it's kind of like a sketchy area. Like the railroad tracks, like there's missing pieces. So like you kind of have to have an idea of what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. Men are crazy. So I can see a random man doing that, but it's a little unlikely.
Yeah, it's really weird.
No offense to all the men out there.
But a little offense.
Just tiny offense.
Just a
little bit. Little tiny offense. But if somebody wants to kill somebody, yeah, they would go to extreme lengths like that. But I feel like most areas like that, you're going to know the area.
Yeah, you have to know the area. It's just so weird.
It is.
So during this press conference also, there was a plea that was made by police for them to help identify the driver of a vehicle who left his vehicle abandoned on that highway that's right outside the trail. It was left at a former child services office between noon and 5 p.m. on the day of the murders. So you just get a random car left at
a child service super office. Sketchy.
Yeah, like, oh, we got 2 girls who were murdered today, but we also have got an abandoned car over here. Like, that has to be connected somehow.
I don't know anyone who would just leave their car randomly.
So over the years, there's been 4 possible suspects that have been linked to the Delphi murders of Abby and Libby. But since then, they have been released and nobody has been considered a suspect anymore. Up until April 27th, 2021, the Indiana State Police detectives named James Brian Chadwell as a person of interest. 42-year-old James Chadwell allegedly lured a 9-year-old neighborhood girl into his home by saying that she could go ahead and pet his dogs. And weird thing about this is that home is about 15 miles away from where Abby and Libby were found. Police say he beat the 9-year-old girl, locked her in the basement, and sexually assaulted her before the police showed up, just doing their routine searches for the girl. I guess Chadwell had opened up the door, let the police in, let them go ahead and just start looking through his house, acting like there's nothing to hide, and police actually found the girl in the basement, naked and badly beaten.
Jesus Christ.
So he's currently being investigated into this connection to the murders because of the aspect that he lured this 9-year-old girl into his house. And Abby and Libby were actually lured down that hill. And the fact that he lives so close to where those girls were found, along with, which is super creepy as heck, there is a tattoo on his arm. And it has a crazy resemblance to a photo of Liberty. As of today, Chadwell is still being investigated for the murders of Abby and Libby. This tattoo is nuts to me.
Even if it's not it obviously resembles a young child. So the fact that he was caught abusing a young child.
And like 15 miles away, and you're like luring little girls into your house. Like that's just, come on now.
Right. No, no. I mean,
No.
he's still in jail though.
Yeah, so
He's
he's
just still being
currently,
investigated.
yeah, so he's in there on charges because of what he did to this 9-year-old girl. But because they think he's possibly connected, they're still kind of trying to get him to give up some information. Like, you live that close to where these girls were found, and you're over here luring 9-year-old girls. And so, like, when I tell you that those two police sketches don't make any sense next to each other, if we put them up against this man's photo, it like just all makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah, that tattoo does look like her.
Yeah, it looks just like her.
Like, even the smile is exactly the same.
Yeah, and like I guess if you put the two pictures on top of each other, like even where the mouth is placed, where the nose is placed, where the eyes are placed, like everything is in the same like placement as this picture of her.
And that's also extremely creepy that it's like a dead girl
Yeah,
that
like
looks
how,
just like her.
and I'm sorry, like that tattoo is just disgusting looking. So like what was the point of that?
I don't, it's men.
Men. So this right here is the two police sketches. The first one on the right is that first one that they said came from an eyewitness that of the guy was kind of walking down the bridge and he kind of seemed a little creepy. Now the second one is the one where we're supposed to actually consider it the first sketch, where he's clean shaved, looking a little younger. I don't know about you, but those two do not look anything alike.
They
Like
look
nothing.
absolutely nothing alike.
Yeah, there's nothing that makes them look like that's the same. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But
No, because that
this,
first one looks like a 20-year-old, and then the other one looks
Mhm.
like an older man.
Unless the first person that they took a picture of or that the eyewitness was talking about just was a random man who was walking on the bridge that day. Like he seemed creepy, but it really wasn't him. But if you look at the video, you can kind of see like how that first sketch looks like the man in the video. This second person that we're supposed to consider as the first, like the prime picture of the suspect, that doesn't look anything like him.
It's just crazy to me that those are completely different sketches.
That is Brian Chadwell. And that picture next to him is what the man on the bridge from the Snapchat video looks like.
Oh, see, yeah, that looks like it could be his like body type.
Mm-hmm. And like if you look at those two sketches, they don't look anything alike. But if you look at that sketch up to his face, I can see where they would get both of those. So like you figure he got his facial hair. He's looking a little scruffy. He's trying to conceal his identity. He looks more like the picture on the right, the first sketch that was made. Clean shaved, hair brushed back, no facial hair, nothing like that. I can see where you can get that second, you know what I mean? Like you can get that second picture that we're now supposed to consider as the prime picture.
Right. And
But
I
just,
also want to point out that the drawing quality in these pictures is very different.
oh my God. Yeah, like the first one is like really good. Like whoever drew that was really on point with their skills there. That second one looks like something my child would have done.
Top-notch artist and, mediocre over here. It's just, why
Yeah.
wouldn't you get the same person and draw both? I don't.
Like that first sketch looks way more like the video down there, like the still of that video. It looks way more like it. Like whoever that is in the second picture that we're supposed to consider the first doesn't look anything like him.
No, because and I mean, I don't mean to say this in like an offensive way, but the first picture looks like a dude who has a little bit of weight on him. The
Yeah.
second picture looks like it'd be a skinny dude in his 20s, and that picture from the video doesn't look like a skinny dude in his 20s. Not even the least bit.
Not even in the least.
I don't know a 20-year-old that would wear a windbreaker.
I know. Yeah, it's like a windbreaker.
It's just, observations.
Just observations. I don't know anybody who actually wears windbreakers anymore, to be honest. Yeah, he just looks so casual, like just walking down a bridge following two girls.
It's very nonchalant. Like, it's kind of like he doesn't care.
See, that's where I feel like he has to know. Like he has to be from that area. Chadwell over here with the weirdo tattoo only lives 15 minutes away or 15 miles away from where they were found. So it's like, I just don't feel like they can have that many coincidences.
No, there's no way.
And the creepy tattoo, like, who did that tattoo, first of all?
I mean, there's some tattoo artists out there who you give them money, they'll do it.
Like, that is just like, and it looks like in the tattoo, like, she's crying.
It looks like she's crying blood.
Yeah, and it's just awful.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Bad vibes.
Bad vibes, bad vibes.
Yeah, see, it's got like the exact same mouth.
And then if you take this photo right here, like match that up to the still or match that up to the video. Like I could see that man walking. Like that looks exactly like the person who would be walking down that bridge.
Yeah, 100%.
And then in that video, in that picture, you can actually see the tattoo on his arm.
Oh, yeah, you can. See, and that's one of those things where he's got it on his arm like that. He wants people to see it. He's not trying to cover that up. That's just, don't like it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
And so this is the last photo that Libby took of Abby on the bridge. This is what was posted on Snapchat. And people have said that they've like zoomed in as much as they can and they don't see anybody back there. But the location of where this picture was actually taken is almost to like the end of the bridge. So at some point he had to, that's why they say like they think he came from the other side and walked past them. And like there was like words exchanged or something, or like, you know, that's when he kind of was like, oh, hey, I think I'm going to do this. And then he turned around and that's when Libby got into her head, like, maybe I need to record this. Like, good for her. You know what I mean? Good for her. Because I don't even know if I would have thought to myself, like, let me start recording. Like, I would have been like cussing at him, like, don't follow me. Get out of here. Like, my mouth would have been running and my ass would have been dead. You know what I mean? Like, I would not have recorded at all. We wouldn't have any of this if this was me.
No,
None
me
of
neither,
it.
because I don't sit there and think to like pull my phone out and like record stuff. 90% of the time, I forget I even have Snapchat.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even think to myself, like, let me record this creepy man following me. I'd be like, no, I'm gonna have to go say something to him. I'm about to say something.
This is exactly why we wouldn't survive long, because we don't know how to keep our mouths shut.
This is why we can't have nice things.
It's exactly. And you know, that's one of those things. I was sitting here thinking about it when you said something about they recorded it. Granted, I hate social media and I hate that kids are on social media so often. It's a good thing that social media is around for stuff like that.
Yeah, or like that everybody has cell phones now. Like, think about back in like 1980, how much shit people could get away with because there was nothing recording them. There was no cameras on every corner, you know, stores didn't have cameras. If they did, it was like a shitty quality where you couldn't really see anything. Like red lights, they didn't have cameras. Like there was no big brother watching everything. And now it's like you can't get away with anything without being recorded.
There's so many creepy people nowadays. I mean, look, he abducted a 9-year-old.
Yeah, lured a 9-year-old into his home and she wanted just to pet his dogs. Like that would have been me too. Like you offer me to pet your dog, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm on my way.
You offer me to pet a dog or a cat or just really any kind of animal. I'm like, sure, let's go.
Like, let's do this. Like I would be one of those people. But it's like, who lures a 9-year-old into their house to beat them and to sexually assault them and then thinks to himself, oh, the police are at my door. Let me go ahead and let them in. Like, you obviously wanted to get caught. But, like, for what? Like,
you either wanted to get caught or you just thought the police were stupid.
Yeah, or you thought that they were stupid or they weren't going to notice, like, these big old because I guess they had padlocks on that basement door. And police were like, bro, open the door up. Like, you don't think the police are going to think to themselves, like, well, we're just here looking for a girl, but there's a lock on this door. Don't think I'm going to check it. Like, what?
Yeah, no, the police don't look at locks and think, "Oh, door's locked. Can't look there."
Yeah,
They're
can't
gonna
look
tell you to
there.
open the damn door.
Yeah,
And if you
like,
don't open it, they'll come back and kick it down.
and the fact that he lured a 9-year-old girl into that room and that these girls were lured down a hill, things that kind of happen that are coincidental, but like, that's too many. You know what I mean? Like, it's too many
Right.
for it not to be like related.
Yeah, because I mean, especially because it was so close to where he lived.
Yeah, 15 miles. 15 miles.
Was it 15 miles from where they found the bodies or from that bridge?
So where the bridge is, a half a mile down that hill, across like this tiny little creek is where they found the girls. So like within a half of a mile distance is where those girls' bodies were found from where that picture was taken. So like 15 miles from that bridge where, in that vicinity where they were found is where he lived. So you think
Right.
like he's probably walked that bridge a bazillion times. He's probably been down that. He probably went with like family or friends hiking up and down because it's a historic bridge. Like there's nothing to do apparently in this town except for like hiking and stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just as police said, they think that it's somebody who lives in the area, who is familiar with the area. Here's this dude. He lives in the area. He's familiar with the area. He's luring other girls to doing things. Like it seems a little freaking sketchy to me.
It is. It's very sketchy. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he did it. Especially because, like you said, he looks like the person walking. Like, I can see that being him.
Especially if he tried to conceal his identity, because like it looks like he's got a hoodie underneath that crazy 1950s windbreaker that he's wearing, and that weird little hat. Like you take those things off though, like I can see that person under there.
Right. And he's obviously wearing long sleeves and multiple layers to cover because he's got so many tattoos. So, like, obviously, you're going to want to cover those.
Yeah, you don't want anybody to see those tattoos, because then it's like, oh well, if someone sees me, because everybody's recording everything now. But thankfully, like she was able to conceal. Like good for
Right.
her.
Yeah, and especially because she was able to conceal it enough that he didn't know, and he didn't
Yeah.
know to take the phone with him.
Yeah, like he had no idea.
He was shitting his pants when they came out with that video evidence. He was like, "Oh, fuck.
He's like, oh man, I really messed up now. I'm gonna have to move.
I'm gonna have to go move to, like, Brazil or something." Wherever doesn't have extradition laws, I don't know where that's at.
Yeah, no extradition laws is what we need. I need to get the heck out of here. The reward leading up to the arrest is now up to $325,000. Last year it was at 225,000, but an anonymous donor just actually put in $100,000 in hopes of putting, new tips out there. So right now, anybody with information about this case can call the Delphi Homicide Investigation tip line at 844-459-5786. They can also contact the Indiana State Police at 800-382-7537, or you can contact the Carroll County Sheriff's Department at 765-564-2413. But as always, you can email, because everybody takes an email now, at Abby and Libby tip at CACOSHRF.com.
.com. Weird people.
People are strange when you're a stranger. I don't know the rest of the song.
It was a great version, though. I loved it.
I actually think I should sign up for American Idol now. I don't think that show's even on anymore, but if it is, call me.
I don't think it is, but I definitely think that you should sing for every episode of the podcast, for sure.
That same song.
Maybe that one. If not,
maybe learn the lyrics to it.
If you're going to sing it, at least learn all of the lyrics. And like I said, if not that song, just another song about people being weird.
There was a time where I remember going out into the kitchen and my mom was doing something and I was looking at a newspaper and it was like obituaries. And I literally asked her if I could cut out the obituaries of like these old people who had passed away and put them in a binder. And I remember her just like looking at me going like, no.
She probably looked at you like, You okay?
This is how it starts. This is how it starts, people. This is when you
Is
know that
everything
your
okay?
child is going to have some serious issues later on, is when they ask you if they can start taking newspaper clippings of dead people and put them in a binder.
It just meant you cared. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was all the empathy. I'm like, I want to keep these old people safe in like a little book so somebody always
Oh.
remembers them. And she said
Oh.
no. Rude.
Oh, that was so rude.
Now look at me.
Now look at me, Mom.
Now look
God.
at me.
It's all your fault, Mom.
This is your fault.
As always, don't forget to find us on Spotify and Google Podcasts by searching Dark and Twisties.
And follow us on Instagram at Dark and Twisties Podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I think we did really well.
We did it. Oh my God.
That was like one time, and that's all we needed.
Oh my God.
It's such a good job.
We're pros.